Hey there, YouTube. It's Cadiot, and welcome back to my single-player survival world. Today I have, well, I would like to say I have plans, but I don't plan anything ahead of time anymore because I don't really have the time to plan anything ahead of time. So we're just here, and we're going to do a build today because I need to do a build because I've been neglecting this place yet again. Now, for future reference, if people have ideas for builds for here, leave them in the comments so I can hopefully get around to this series more often. I've left this place for a month in this state of unfinished lots, unfinished areas. It's a whole mess. And I think today's the day that we jump in. I want to do this slot right here, this plot. I don't know what we're gonna put on it. One second, I gotta kill this villager. Wait, actually, are you useful? No, you're not. Okay, I would have cut that like a month ago, but nowadays we're just gonna flow with it. We're gonna flow with it. Minecraft's back. We flow with it. Okay. This plot here, this needs to be dealt with. I don't know what I'm going to put on it, but since we're down here by the docks, probably something more dock related. Once I get more to the other side of this area, I had a whole plan for like a elevator sort of thing with the tracks, like it elevates at an angle, so it kind of gets dragged up the hill, but I was kind of waiting for 1.21.9 to release so I can use the shelves and stuff before I do that. Anyway, done with the rambling. Let's get into a build. I'm going to start this out here by laying out some more track. I want to figure out how far back I want this track to run roughly before we get to the point that I'd have to do the elevator up. Or would you even call it an elevator? It's kind of at an angle, whatever the pull up thing. There's a whole roller coaster I'm inspired by that I wanted to do something that goes up that way. I don't know how to articulate my point here. So I'm going to move on. Anyway, I want to figure out roughly how much space I have to work with on this plot because I need to figure out where I want to put the build I'm going to put. I kind of want something that goes over top of the tracks, kind of like a building that has a second story above it. But I don't know if I want to go for more of a warehouse or more of like a fishing building guild thing. Panda, can you move? Move, Panda. Move. Okay, moved. I need to like contain that thing. He's rare. Yeah, I guess what I'll probably end up doing is I'll just end up placing in some blocks for now, figuring out where the limit is, and then I'll run with that as kind of my area where I will build the house thing inevitably. I guess another thing I really didn't take into consideration with this area is it kind of juts out here naturally on the isle, and my steamboat's here, so I've kind of got to bring the dock out or clear this all out. I don't know if clearing it all out is the right move. I might be logistically thinking of where the steamboat is, but I don't think I'd like the look of that. I kind of want to jut the whole dock out and have more of a piered point here. But then that raises the question, well, with the upper elevation here, do I then have to bring out the elevation more out this way as well? It's a whole it's like a whole game figuring out what to do and how to do it. And there's a lot that goes into the thought process, and my brain is not there. I'm no civil engineer, so I can't tell you how things would exist, but I could try. I mean, I could contact Duke. Maybe he would know more, but he's not a civil engineer either. So, I mean, he does more city design stuff. He might know. This is like my single player world, so I don't know. Can I contact other people? What's your thoughts? I realize you're not going to answer in fake time. You're not going to answer in real time because you're the audience, but I feel like my audience probably knows more about this place or realizes more about this place than I do. I swear, there is not a brain cell in this panda. He refuses to get out of the water. I have to bring him bamboo. You'd think he'd want to, not swim. Come on. Yeah, no, I need you to get this way, so that way you're out of my way. Come on, Panda. Come on. Now, if I haven't made it clear in the past or you haven't realized, there's always specific, like, quadrant sizes I like to work in with my builds, whether it be 4 by 4 or 3 by 3 or whatnot. I always like to figure out what spacing I can get my pillars on my build. Now, it so happens that this here appears to be working best with a 3 by 3 with a pillar between each little bit here, and that actually kind of lines up with what I'm going for, because I want, if I'm going to do an extended dock, to have a wall right in here, and then have kind of probably a 3 wide bridge area before I have my dip in where my rail would go up on that elevated angled platform thing that I'm trying to figure out how I want to do. I want to I really, really want to see if I could animate it, although it's angled, probably not going to happen. Getting sidetracked, that's fine. Continuing on, over here, this I think is going to be the profile of what's on either side. This, if I've done my math right, works out, so I'll have my 3 quadrants on either bit here, so 3, pillar 3, which I think is what will work best for this area. Now, there's a lot more to analyze here. I might decide to stray from it and see if I can find a way to put the pillar in so I have more than a couple squares on either end here, but everything's an iterative process. I'll just build a couple pillars and we'll go from there and we'll see what happens. We'll see how it looks. It's not going to look right the first time, but it's never going to look right the first time. So I guess what I'm saying is it's committing time, and I should commit before I sit here for the next hour looking at wool on the ground. I've now taken a step back, and I've decided to place in a bit of a seawall here, try and figure out what I want to do with the dock. I don't know if the curved approach here is necessarily right for more of a steampunky time. It feels like something you'd see more in like a modern luxury small boat port in like the Florida Keys or something like that. Might not fit, might come back and make it less rounded, but for now I think we're gonna go with this here. And I've decided to lay out my wool for where my pillars are gonna go for this dock house thing. I get, this is not right. It doesn't look right. It's not supposed to be right. I don't know how to explain what I'm planning here, but I'm thinking some sort of extended patio, covered patio thing with maybe like fishnets or something hanging down. And so these will probably become something different at some point, some different material, and not probably be a full thickness pillar. I have a build I did a while back. It might still be on my channel. I don't know if it is, but I'm trying to emulate that there, and we'll see how poorly that goes. Now, what else? There is nothing else. I put in this wall. I'm just gonna build. So a lot of work is gonna go into figuring out all the heights and things and all the gradient, but I had a big decision here off the start, and that is, do I use dark oak or do I use spruce for the main pillars? Now, I also had to consider height, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hybrid spruce and dark oak, to where at the lower heights I'll use the dark oak, and then at the higher heights I'll use the spruce. And that's just because, at least I think the spruce is the brighter color of the two. I feel like this makes more sense at the higher point, so that's what we're going to run with. Now, here's the other thing. I need a bit of clearance. I need about 4.5 blocks of clearance above the rails is what I have determined based on my other area, which is way over here. Way over here. This here is 4.5 blocks of clearance. Unfortunately, the train there on the bridge is 5 blocks tall. We ignore that. We are ignoring that. Yeah, well, I'll need about 5 blocks, well, 4.5 realistically of clearance for this bridge right around the rail here. I'll figure out what I'm going to do for that here in a bit, but this might end up looking a bit on the tall side. I'll definitely have to come back through and add a bunch of stuff to make it look less flat and tall and more curvy, and I don't like where this statement's going. Let's just continue. No time-lapsing this stuff. Let's just place some blocks. Place them on camera. Oh yeah, I love placing blocks on camera. This is something I never do. Oh yeah, I can't. I do all of that block placing fright, that stage fright of doing it on camera. Oh yeah, on camera block placing. Gotta narrate this in the worst way possible so people tell me never to do it again. Heck yeah. Woo, add personality to your video. Totally normal thing to do. I don't know what to say. Ow. I'm gonna be real. I think these pillars were a mistake, which is why I've removed them. Now, why I would remove them, it's actually kind of simple to explain, because my explanation is I want to put this as kind of just an open area down here and have these other pillars act like stilts and then have an actual building over here. I might honestly take this pillar out too and that pillar too. We'll see what I end up deciding to do when I do it, but something just tells me having this open so you can see through it versus it being more enclosed in is gonna look better. Having it more as like a covered storage space. I don't know, but we'll figure out more. I think since I'm gonna not have more of an overhang on these, because it's gonna be like a straight up stand on stilts thing, I can just come in here and place down sort of a trim on this level. I think this will allow me to get more of a divider in my build. Now, I don't know anything, so I'm going to claim that's what I think, and then I will adjust my hypothesis if that it ends up being the incorrect choice. I don't want to mislead people, so I'm doing this the scientific way of saying it's a hypothesis. So if I just come in here now, place some more up, I think we're going to go probably 4 over here for now. It feels right. We'll adjust heights as we need. I'm also staggering my placement for this whole pillar gradient thing. I don't know how it'll look yet. We'll find out. But if I step down here, it could use some work. I probably look better when I actually have a second layer on there. I don't know just yet. We'll figure it out as we go. I honestly wonder if I brought like a pillar across here, if that would help. But then it just, I don't know. It wouldn't feel right, but maybe it would. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just going to continue building. I'm not saying this is the end-all be-all solution, but I'm kind of liking the arch I've brought in here now. It's not focused on the center so much as it is focused over here where the height of the train would be. I like how it's done. I really wish there was like less bulk I could put into it, and beyond that, I really wish we had the shelves in this version of the game because those are basically vertical slabs, but I think that's how we'll run with this. I've also decided that I think I'm going to actually inset the base in here so that it sits in, like the actual building itself sits within this area. It'll mean a smaller bottom floor, but it'll also then mean I don't have whatever material basically shoved right up to the pillar and making it look like a flat wall. I think it'll help with the depth of the build. I'll have to do that though, but for now I gotta sleep in this bed before the monsters come and cause me all the undue pain in the world. Since I'm not going to use Beyond the Stone probably here on the lower base area, I'm gonna try and stick to somewhat of a gradient. Now, I don't know the perfect gradient for stone brick to stone, but I think something like this tracks for the gradient I need to go for. Now, I guess another thing here is I'm thinking of shadow. Realistically, this is going to be a darker area, so I probably need to move the gradient more towards the ceiling than towards the floor like I would over here. There's a lot to think about in builds, and it's a lot that I don't necessarily have the mental capacity to process, but we try here. We try, and then we fail, and then we cry, because we wasted time. I kind of like that, and I honestly wonder if I just make the entirety of the base floor inaccessible on this area too, and just leave it windowless, because I like how the gradient works more than I think I will like anything else I do to it. A hard choice, but I think it's the choice we'll go with. Now I'm about to make an awkward choice here. I'm going to see how it works, and I'm going to not dwell on it, hopefully, if it doesn't work. But I was thinking I'm actually low 1 block from where the upper level is, so if I can manage to bring this whole area up 1 block, then I can kind of seamlessly transition it into the upper area with kind of an upper platform connection. So I'm thinking that maybe by bringing like more of a separated beam across here, I don't really want to use a full-size log for this, but doing something like this and then boosting the whole height of the floor up to that level so all the windows are up one might work. I also need to do this because I want to figure out how to kind of have juts on this, but that's a totally different reason for what I'm doing, and this is definitely not me just trying to cope and justify this choice. I'm gonna be honest, I might have lost the plot on this one, but I think I'm just gonna roll with it and let myself start going crazy with juts because I think it's the only way this building's gonna get any dimension beyond flat. Let's just do things like this. Let's see what happens. I mean, what the worst that happens is I go and I build a TNT flying machine and crash a TNT flying machine into it. TNT melts wood, right? Well, this is looking particularly gloomy up to this point, and I know it's kind of a bad message to jump in here and interject with, but when you feel just down, don't. You'll come back from it. It's what I've been telling myself this entire time. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what the right move is. I can't particularly picture what I'm going for at this point. But I know that it'll come out all right as long as I try. And I guess that's the message. I don't know, this is a very depressing thing to talk about in the middle of a Minecraft episode. But honestly, it's been how I've been feeling the past couple weeks. And I just need it to come out all right. I don't even know if this will make the final cut, but if not, it'll go from happy up-looking Cadiot to, wow, that's a depressing comment, Cadiot. But okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop. I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna put what I'm gonna try and do. I'm gonna try and use some oak log on the outward facing positions, the out ones, and then the inner. I think I'm gonna try and run sandstone. I'm gonna see if alternating textures and colors looks all right. Maybe it'd be the inverse. Maybe I should put the oak log on the inner based on gradient, but yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine. That's how life is. Sometimes you don't know, but you just gotta work through it. I think this is kind of what I'm gonna end up playing with here. I mean, it's kind of like an inverse gradient to where I would expect it to almost be lighter at the bottom based on how lighting tends to work, if that makes sense. It's so like the roof brim would cast a bit of a shadow, although maybe the shadow needs to be a little less intense. I feel like it's gonna be probably darker in that corner, so that probably needs to be inverse, so it's like a triangle there. That aside, I think this is what I'll run with on the inner gradient, and then I think for the outer gradient, I'll start with sandstone and go into birch. Well, the gradient's certainly progressing. I think this is kind of what I'm going to go for here. The idea with the corner being lighter, the sandstone then comes in here to make it even lighter, kind of on this particular part of the build. I'm thinking the juts would be lighter since they're brought out more, but I could be wrong. I think this is what I'll go for. I don't know what I'm even gonna do here. This was just an afterthought. Maybe it's a window, maybe it isn't. Gosh, if I know. But other than that, I think I just need to figure out where windows are gonna go and finish placing in the rest of the walls that have not been placed. And I think we'll have something. We'll know roughly what we're doing then, at least. And then I can maybe come through with details, add fans, pipes, and all the other stuff to make it steampunky. Now, I guess I should go ahead and figure out how I want these windows to work. I have an idea using copper trapdoors and glass panes, kind of emulating the trick that Duke had showed me at one point using the copper grates and glass panes. Now, the only way to figure out if it's going to work is to try it, so I guess I should just do it. Just Duke it. I don't know. Let's see what that looks like. I think the grates worked better. It honestly looks too... I don't think that even makes sense. I don't know why. I don't like that. I guess I could run the grates. Now, it would make any interior that I do, if I even do an interior, really narrow. But it might just be better to get rid of them, honestly. I'm gonna be honest, I've come to the point where I don't even know what I'm doing with this anymore. I'm gonna try to make it better. I'm going to see what I can do to make it better. And I think the first thing I need to start with here is a fan. Now, my thoughts behind a fan going somewhere in here is that I, well, I don't know why I would put a fan here or why there'd be a fan here. I don't care that I don't know why. I don't know. I feel like it needs a fan, and this just feels like a logical place for it. Not that that would be why a fan would go here. It's just something about this little jet here feels like there'd maybe be some cooling component over here, and I'm gonna give that enough of a justification. I'm gonna call that enough of a justification as to why a fan is going in this location. And there we go. Oh, noise has started. Cool, we have a fan. Now I just need to decorate it and make it look like a fan versus a bunch of spinning trapdoors. You know, once again, I don't know why we needed a fan there, but we just needed a fan there, okay? I just wanted to put it there. I have to have redstone in this video somehow, and this is the way I was gonna do it. I think now I just need to go for a roof line. I don't know anything else about where I want these windows to be positioned, and I'm thinking about it more, and having a roof might make my life easier when it comes to decorating these walls, determining which ones need windows and whatnot. So I think I'm going to try something bold here with jungle slabs and jungle stairs, and I'm going to see if I can get a roof trim out of a lighter color and pull it off. And I was just thinking about it because, like, I've got all these darker spruce and dark oak ones, but I haven't tried something like jungle, and I think it'd add a bit of a different texture that maybe I'm missing in a build like this. Now, I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. But we'll never know until we try. Just a preliminary look at the coloring, it doesn't seem too far off, honestly. I might stick and run with this, because it kind of feels like it works. I don't know how I feel about the fact that it kind of works, but I think it could work. I think I could pull this off. You know, this has got to be one of the silliest roof lines I think I have ever plotted out. I don't even know how this roof is going to come together, but I'm going to make it come together, and you're about to see it any second now. I'm not going to lie, looking at this roof now, I think some choices were made with the arch formation, and it's kind of led me to have to make a bit of an improvisation here in the center where there is really no ridges matching up at any point. And this is kind of what I came up with. I just went with kind of a tower thing coming off of it, and I don't know the best way to deal with this because we don't really have all the copper stuff yet. Or like the new update has like copper fences and things that, not fences, they're bars, but they would make forming a roof tower thing here a lot easier. I'll have to revisit this bit later, but for now I really need to texture the roof. And I was thinking, and I know that's dangerous, but how would the roof oxidize, or where would be the darker portion of the roof? And the more I think about it, I think it would be down here at the bottom, because like, there'd be more water and stuff running over it, so therefore it'd wear quicker. And the ridge lines of the roof would wear slower, so they would be less worn. I think it's what I'm gonna go with, is I'm just gonna go through and kind of like strip some of this off and make some of it less worn around the top. I don't know if it'll look alright, and if not, I guess we'll just have to let it re-age, but we're gonna see what happens. Let's take a step back and let's see how this looks. I'm a little curious because the viewing angle on the roof is not the greatest thing ever. Okay. It's a lot better than if it was just flat green, I'll tell you that much. I mean, it does not help that it's not really a big roof, so it's not all up in the air, but I like it. I think it's better than it would be as one flat color. I mean, that was a mistake. That'll get fixed. That'll get fixed too. I hate how long things take to oxidize. But you know what? We'll go with it. We'll go with it. We'll get some windows on this build, find a reason for it to exist, and we'll be good. Changes have been made, windows have been added, and I mean, I guess I can go over what has changed. Not much has changed, though, in the grand scheme of things. I've gone in here and I've added this kind of fuel tank thing. I'm going to have it, like, pump into the wall here, and then it pumps into the floor over there. and I've added that copper pipe, and then I've added that window, and that window, and that window, and that wall stayed blank, and I added that window and that window. Now, there's a lot of windows that are not here because I don't know what I'm going to do here, and I don't know what I'm going to do here, and quite frankly, no one's going to need to see back here, so that doesn't need a window. And so there's quite a few spaces like that to where the window, it just doesn't make sense to have them, so I've decided to leave them out. Now, I've also got this to clean up back in here, but I think at this point, we're good to just finish up by placing some wall in here and maybe extending this back a bit so we have a bit of a nicer area to take a clean screenshot. I think this portion of the port is done. I mean, I don't know lore-wise what this building is, so if you got any ideas for the lore, leave them in the comments, and I'll probably bring that up next episode. I'm going to finish this off, though, and we can then talk a little bit more. Maybe I'll find some details here and there to add. Now, I'd say that this here is a completed build. A lot less than I would have liked to get done in an episode's worth of time, but that's basically where I am at this point. So this is like the last clip I will be recording. I cannot force myself to record any more than this. Anyway, this is, I don't even know what the building is. If someone's got lore idea, come up with it in the comments, and I'll probably assign that lore, since you'll probably be the only comment who gives me lore for this building. But a rundown of what I've got here, or at least what I was originally thinking. I was originally thinking it'd be like some sort of fishing dock building, which is where this comes from. This fish that is made using armor stands, chain, and salmon with the armor stand mod. I was thinking about doing more of them, but I don't know if I like it. I did one. We're going to leave one, and we might add more later at another time if we do end up keeping this as a fishing place, and if not, that'll probably go. I also added, between our last clip, whatever this tank thing is. I was thinking it's in like sort of fuel tank. It's got a fuel point into the wall. It's also got a fuel point into the ground. I was thinking if that, eventually I'm going to come out this way and probably do more of like a small boat dock, and maybe having some sort of like fuel storage here, and then it runs through the walls, and maybe that's for like what the fishermen would use to fuel their boats. I don't know. That's my idea of lore. Oh, and I'm flying. But that's a building. That is a building, and it has, well, you saw nothing. This is definitely complete. It has certainly has all the sides it needs, and definitely an incomplete back, and oh well. Ow. People won't notice. You won't notice. You saw nothing. This over here is the only acceptable view angle, and it's the only one that you're gonna get. Well, anyway, that's gonna do it for me today. I've been Cadiot. If you enjoy my videos, please likes, subscribes, or don't. I really don't care. Just know that it helps the algorithm. So if you think I should be seen more, then do that. If not, why is my helmet on? If not, then yeah, don't. Cool. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, I will see you in the next one. Bye.